Hey y'all, my name's Jen. I'm a health and life coach on a mission to empower women, and this season I call the messy middle. We believe it's never too late to dream your wildest dreams and to build lives freed from the shoulds and have-tos. Here, we talk to ourselves like we do our girlfriends and our sisters and daughters. I will share stories and resources with lots of encouragement and a little bit of tough love to drive you toward action. In this podcast, we talk about everything: career, relationships, motherhood, and health. So grab your sneakers and let's go, because she's wild and freed. Hey y'all! Welcome back to another episode of She's Wild and Freed. I am so grateful for this opportunity to hang out with you today. So thank you for listening in. And yes, today we are talking about the F word. Not the one that rhymes with duck or stuck. The other F word. Are you intrigued? Or are you just annoyed because I totally use the F word as clickbait? Okay, I won't leave you in suspense any longer. The other F word, or at least according to me, my opinion, is the word fine. So F-I-N-E, fine. So that's right. Today, in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, we are going to be talking about our mental health and the dangerous place that we find ourselves living in, working, or basically just existing in all the time. Or at least I'm speaking for myself. I've been in this place for a long time. This state of being just fine. So we will talk about that, and then also talk about actions we can take right now to shift away from a place of feeling numb or complacent or bored, or just feeling like there's more for me, there's more out there, but I don't know how to get there or to get out of this funk. No worries, I've got you. And not in a way like I've got this all figured out, like I live in a state of bliss and I'm challenged every day at work and I feel great all the time, but more like I've been exploring this concept for a little while now and working through some things, and I want to share tips that may also work for you as you explore and work through these things in your journey. So let me ask you, how many of you answer the question, how are you? With, I'm fine. Or what about this one? When someone crosses a boundary or someone does something that's disrespectful towards you or may have done something that you didn't want done, and you say, it's fine. And let me ask you this question. How many of you, when you were little and you thought about what you wanted to be when you grew up or who you wanted to be, you thought, I want to be fine? I definitely didn't think that. I've thought about this a lot. Really too long to admit that I've been living in this existence of just fine. And I don't want to have an okay life. I don't want to answer that question, how are you, with, I'm fine, everything's fine. I want an exceptional life. One that I love. And that when people ask me that, I say, it's great. I'm fantastic. I love life. And I want that for you too. So today we are going to talk about steps we can take to move toward that exceptional life. So full disclaimer, there's no magic pill. So it's not like the Matrix where you take the red pill or the blue pill, which I've referenced the Matrix a lot lately. So I feel like I need to watch those movies again. Those are definitely some of my favorites. What about you? Any fans of the Matrix out there? So also, before we get into this, I hope you all know that I'm not assuming that everyone listening to this podcast just has a okay life or everything's just fine. But I also want to acknowledge that life is messy, relationships are hard, and work is not always fun. So I definitely understand that. But I also recognize that we can shift our mindset to a place where we can move forward towards something greater for ourselves. For me, I think about my daily routine. So many of us have them, maybe you specifically. And I have a pretty set daily routine, at least during the week. Well, this will actually shift a little bit now because my son is out of school, but this is my typical schedule. I get up, I work out on most days, get my kid up. I eat mostly the same things for breakfast and lunch. I work my schedule, which is pretty much the same every day. I have calls, more emails, more emails, and then some more calls and some more emails. And it's kind of rinse and repeat. Then I finish up my work day, walk my dog, make dinner, and then do it all again the next day. What about you guys? Does that sound pretty familiar to you? So routines are good and habits are good. I don't want to diminish or talk bad about that. And if you've listened to some of my previous episodes, I talk a lot about habits and how good they are to help us with just achieving and doing the things that we want to do. But sometimes that daily routine, it just makes life fine. And sometimes we find ourselves, or at least I find myself, looking around and wondering, what happened here? How did I get here? Why am I even doing this stuff? Or here's another scenario. You feel stuck at work. You went to school, you got a good job, you worked your way up or over within your field and want something different, or you even want to change careers, but it's scary. And what if you don't make the kind of money you need to live on? What if you can't do it? So you continue to feel stuck and unfulfilled and maybe even a little lonely because everyone else seems to be at least enjoying parts of their job and they're wanting to grow and develop and taking on new things. And you're just kind of feeling like you're there. And then you think, is it just me? Am I crazy? Is a life that's just fine good enough for me? And what about your relationships, your friendships, or your relationship with your partner? Yes, things become comfortable and routine. And yes, life happens. Kids, animals, a mortgage, all those sort of things come into the picture and you get busy or you get complacent. But are you okay with that? Are you okay with everything being fine? If yes to all of these, then great. This episode is not for you. And I know that some of my content is not for everyone. So feel free to pause, move on. If you find something from previous episodes that sounds interesting, jump in there and listen into that. But If you're thinking, I have been feeling like that I want more out of my life. I want more connection in my relationships. I want to feel happy and fulfilled in my work. I need to spice things up in my day to day. Then this episode is for you. This also makes me think about our mental health and the importance of checking in with ourselves, our family, our friends, because everything can seem or can appear to be fine, but is it really? Attuning to this is so important and really makes a difference for you and those around you. When someone says they're fine, are they really? So now that I've got your mind thinking and you have so many thoughts swirling around in your head of things you'd like to do or what you want to have in your relationship or whatever, what can we do about it? Well, first, I suggest you write these things down. So, what is something that you're passionate about or you have an interest in doing, but you don't spend any time on it right now? Maybe it's a hobby that you had in the past. Maybe you want to travel. You want more date nights. Or you're interested in joining a group in your community. This could be something brand new, like actually something that you don't know much about or you haven't done before, but you get really excited about thinking about it, like skydiving or taking a yoga teacher training class. Write out these things, write anything and everything that comes up. And maybe you have one thing or 20. It doesn't matter. Whatever comes up, whatever you've been thinking about, write it down. Then, after you've spent time writing out the thing or the things you want to do, this is a big one. Tap into how that thing or things make you feel. Spend time daydreaming. Move out of your head and into your body. How do you feel about that thing? Is this something that truly lights you up and it brings in all the warm and fuzzy feelings? Is it something that makes you nervous and those butterflies come up in your stomach? You might immediately think to yourself, I can't do that. It's too hard. Why am I even daydreaming about this? Or you might start crafting your plan because not only do you want to do this thing, you want to get things in order so you can. Or you may need to sit with the feeling a little bit longer. These are all natural and normal responses, and you may even notice that you shift between feeling your feelings about the thing to thinking about it, then back to feeling, and you go back and forth. And that is great. These are the feminine and masculine energies at work. The masculine is logical, strategic, and wants to take action. The feminine wants to dream and feel and have things flow. We need both energies. And the masculine may be dominating and thinking about all the things and could even get you into a state of overwhelm. Or the masculine could be putting structure to your plan and outlining steps 1, 2, and 3. Allow whatever it is to happen. What you don't want to happen, though, is getting too caught up in your mind and thinking, because if you're like me, you start thinking for way too long. thinking about it for a day turns into a week, turns into a month, and you're planning and strategizing and then thinking about it some more. But that just brings, at least for me, could bring you back to a life that just feels fine, with no movement toward the dream or the joy or the fun that you want to be having. That's why you need to sit with those thoughts and explore what comes up when you tap into the feminine energy of receiving and allowing. It's a beautiful dance, and it takes practice. Let me give you a real world example. Now, I've just come up with this idea, so just go with me. Your thing may not be like this one, but it may be. It may be similar, or at least you can tap into this. So you really want to travel to France. The thought of France is romantic. They have amazing food and sights. And you're not sure why France is the place, but you really want to go there. So then you sit with that. You examine your feelings about France. Maybe your favorite movies are based there, and that's why you want to travel there. So sit with that. And then explore that some more. And then you may even remember your parents traveled to France before you were born. And you used to go through the photo album when you were little, and they would tell you stories about France. Or you and your partner talked about going to France when you were dreaming of travel when you were a young couple. But then life got busy with work, with kids, a mortgage, and that dream got pushed aside. If France is not your place, insert whatever your thing is and sit with the feeling, listening to your inner knowing as to why you want it, what it is that could bring you out of this life of being just fine. So going back to the France example, France excites you. You can imagine eating the baguette and sipping wine at a cafe. You can imagine waking up in the south of France near the ocean. You and your partner are enjoying time together, riding bikes, hiking, having slow mornings and meals together. Then instead of just imagining this thing, bring this back into your body. Feel how your nervous system starts to regulate with eating slow, spending time with your partner, enjoying things together. Even feel how it energizes your feelings about your relationship. This is where you can find yourself shifting. I'm having a hard time saying that. Shifting from a life that's fine to a life that's exciting. But wait, oh my gosh, then the thoughts start coming in. Who's going to watch our kids? Okay, maybe our parents could do that. Oh no, I think my passport is going to expire this year. Okay, well, I can work to getting my passport renewed. How are we going to take off work? We can't just take a few days off. It's France. We got to fly across the ocean. It's going to be too much. Your thoughts could even go to, this is selfish. Maybe we should bring the kids with us. Or even to, how in the world would we ever afford a trip like this? All of these are really great thoughts. These are things you should be thinking about when you're planning anything or making a change in your life. There's a lot that can go into it. But it's also a really great way to get stuck. So don't allow those thoughts to take over. Yes, they're good. Again, if you feel moved to, just write them out, write down what it is that's coming up. But when your thoughts or even that worry takes over, take a deep breath, slow down for a moment, and sit with the feelings of what are coming up, the worry, the stress. Listen, I don't like to sit with these feelings. I don't want to feel stressed or worried. I mean, who does? But if you start really feeling into it and understanding where it's coming from, you can also move through it and know that these are normal feelings. These are rational, logical, those masculine energies coming back in, but also know that you're wanting to have the fun and the freedom and the slowing down of being in France. So feel into that, bring it back into your body, and then let it move through you. Now, there are larger things at play here. It's not just the thoughts and the worry, and then, now just bring it back to your body. I do recognize that. But as you practice these things, you can find that you're able to process through and shift toward that mindset of things are possible. I do want to do this. It's okay if it's hard. So we're not going to dive in too deeply into some of those larger things that could be at play here, but, just shifting away from those limiting thoughts and beliefs will help us get out of that gray area of living a life that's just fine. So maybe travel to France is a little too much. It isn't right for you this year. Maybe you can make plans to do that next year. You start a savings account specifically for the trip. You cut back on lattes or microbrews and you put money into savings. Or you cut back on eating out. Or maybe even somebody takes a second job. I mean, these are things that are possible if it works for you in your life. And you can think of other things that you could do. And then you can map out your timeline, put things in order. Yes, you need to renew your passport. You need to work out who's going to watch your kids while you and your partner are away in France. Great. The grandparents can do it. Great. Those are the things that you can start working through. And yes, maybe it doesn't work out this year. It's a plan for next year, or maybe it's not something you do in 6 months. It's for a plan for 12 months. Understanding that not all the dreams, not all the things that we want to shift out of that life of fine could take time. Or maybe you'll discover that you really don't need such a big trip. Like that was the pie in the sky, the great idea. But you just want to get away with your significant other. You want to travel and be with them, maybe more locally or something in the States, because you crave slow mornings with them. You miss sitting with them and having coffee and just talking and not having anywhere to go. That's why this second step is so important, to just sit with the feeling, sit with what's going on, what you're craving, what you feel like is missing in a life that can be extraordinary. And listen, if you want to travel to France, awesome. But sometimes we cast a really wide net because our subconscious will give us all the reasons that I mentioned before that we can't do it. And that's its job. Keep us safe. Don't change. This is not a good idea. That is what our subconscious will do. But listening, slowing down, really sitting with your thoughts and your feelings can help you drive down to the root of what you really want. So let's review what we just talked about. First, write out what you want. Dream. Again, you can cast that wide net. You can think big, bring it down, or keep with the big thoughts, the big dreams. Let's go big. It really is up to you. But write it all out. Grab a journal, piece of paper. Something I'm going to do with my kids actually tonight is start our summer bucket list items. My girls did this when they were younger, and it was super fun. We still talk about going to a midnight showing of Spider-Man when they were, I think they were 14. One of my girls fell asleep in the movie theater. I kept trying to say, can we just maybe go to the 10 o'clock? No, it has to be the midnight showing. So we're going to be writing out our summer bucket list items tonight. So again, write out your dreams, write out your bucket list items. And then number 2, sit with it. Sit with each thing. If there's only one, sit with that. No worries. If you have 20 things, start with one, of course, and really feel into why it's important to you. If it's a career change, if it's a way to connect with others, if it's starting a new project or hobby, whatever it is, just sit with the feeling, explore why, and enjoy that part of the process. And then third, and this is equally important to all the others, you must take action. You can't sit around and wait for the dreams to happen. You can't get out of fine without moving towards something else. And this takes a lot of energy, a lot of mental strength. And sometimes you're going to have to push through a really big fear. If you know there is something more fulfilling, more aligned for you in your career, but you're afraid of what people think, or how you may not be able to make ends meet, or what if you fail? Just sit with those feelings. These may be feelings of feeling unworthy, or you're not good enough to take this action. But know that if you fail, if you have to pivot to something different, or even go back to the career you're in right now, you will have lived a greater existence than staying in the same place. You can take baby steps, maybe even start a side hustle first, test it out. Or you can take a leap and just check for the safety nets later. Whatever it is, go for it, girl. Before I close, I want to suggest some small steps that you can take from fine to fantastic. Well, first, if you do the first 2 steps I just suggested, you've taken action right there. You've taken some small steps toward living a life that you dream of. Another thing you can do is tell someone. Tell a friend, your partner, your parent. Just be sure you tell someone who will be supportive. Maybe they'll have questions. Maybe they'll have some worry or trepidation later. But at first, they are there for you. They've got your back. They think it's fantastic. So just keep that in mind if you choose to tell someone about what you want to do. Explore books or articles or trainings that are available. Find out what it takes to do this thing. Maybe even find some templates that help you. I mean, there's so much out there on YouTube, on Pinterest. You could definitely find some templates that can help you through this. You can even connect with people who are already doing that thing or something similar. You can go online and do that. You can connect with folks locally at some networking events or even at a yoga class. There's so many ways to find expanders who can show you what's possible. And this is flowing back into the masculine energy. You're taking action, you're creating a plan. The point is, do something that moves you toward your dream life. The life that when someone asks you, "How are you?" your answer is, "I'm great. Fantastic. Things are wonderful." Or just insert whatever adjective sounds good to you. Earlier in the episode, I mentioned that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. This episode will be posted right at the end of May, so I didn't want to miss out on talking about this. It's such an important topic. I would be remiss not to say that sometimes we need additional help when we feel stuck. There may be something deeper to work through, or something larger that can't be solved with writing your list. Or sitting with your feelings may be too difficult to do alone and you need support. So seeking counseling is an excellent place to go to get assistance with working through life's challenges. And if that's something you can't afford right now, there are also resources maybe through work, or through your community, or even your religious organizations. So seek that out if you're needing additional support or help. If you or someone you know is in danger, if you are in danger of hurting yourself or others, or someone you know is, there is a crisis hotline available 24/7 at 988. Counselors are available and can assist you if you're in a crisis situation. I just want you to know that you matter and there is support for you. You can call 988. I hope you found the information and tips in this episode helpful. If you know someone who would benefit from the tips, please share this episode with them or post it to your social and tag me so I can thank you for helping me get the message out. Talk to you next time. Be well, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you feel free to take action toward building the life of your dreams. If something in this episode resonated with you, I would so appreciate it if you would text it to a girlfriend so she can hear the message as well. Until next time, stay wild.